Today we're going to talk about Standard 6.09, which is the first king, Sargon of Akkad, and what that means. Before we do that, we're going to spiral back to some things that we've already learned before, as we try to do every lesson. So the first question is, what is irrigation? Can anybody tell me what irrigation is? Case? Yes, it's controlling water or moving water from where it is to where you want it. Now, man has often done that with canals, which are artificial waterways, or levees, which are artificial water walls. They absolutely used that in ancient Mesopotamia. Raise your hand if you know the two rivers of Mesopotamia. The Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Good. Name some inventions that helped the Mesopotamians. The plow. The wheel. What helps boats move fast? What's help? Yes? The sail. What about the potter's wheel, where they can make clay pots to store grains? All that makes sense? Irrigation was another one. Good. And metal, right? They started smelting copper. What was a city-state? This is a tough one. A lot of parts to a city-state. Okay. Say again. Okay, it was a large city that had its own government. What did it have around it? What was around the cities for protection? Walls. Okay. They had their own army, right? And they had their own farmland on the outside of that. So they were basically their own little nation, but it was one big city. Good. Why did the city-states fight each other? Why do you think they fought each other? Why do you think these city-states fought each other? You want to pass it to Ben? Go ahead.
Maybe for territory?
Territory? Resources?
Better lights?
Not yet.
Better stuff like...
Taking the people's stuff. We know mankind has fought for a long time to take other people's stuff, take other people's farmland. This trash can, one of these knuckleheads broke my picture, so this has got class. It's small, but you can see it. It's reach. All right. So we know that city-states are going to fight each other for resources. Slaves, they want to get slaves to do all the work for them. Women, okay? Mankind is not good, right? The only time we're ever good is when we try to be good, right? Next. All right, so the first kingdom and empire of the Fertile Crescent, which is Sargon. Next. So here's what we're going to do, our head scratcher. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes, and I want you to answer this fundamental question. Is it better to have a strong, one-person government or have a government where a bunch of people rule? Why do you think that, and what do we have? So I want you to read this question. You got about 2 minutes, 3 at the most, and you're going to answer this question where it says head scratcher on your notes. Everybody, it's right here. It's right here on your notes. Go ahead, you got about 2 minutes. Just stay right there. Thank you, sir. about 1 minute left. All right, raise your hand if you think it's better to have a strong one-person government. Why do you think that?
There's like I think one person they say something they do. If you have a bunch of people, it's gonna take forever.
Okay. Efficiency with one person, okay?
You should have multiple people do. If there's one person ruling over for them, then everyone else may not be happy.
Okay, I like it. What do you think, Stuart? Many at one time would probably disagree. They wouldn't all agree on stuff. Well, is it always good to have one person in charge if everybody had to do what that person said? Not always. That person might not say good things. Right? Is it always good to have a bunch of people that disagree all the time? Sometimes, because while they're disagreeing, nobody's taking too much power. Okay? You always want the power diffused unless you can trust the person in charge. Right? And you're going to see throughout history, most of the things that we're going to say this, you're going to have one person in charge, but he had a bunch of people working for him to enact what he says. Okay, what we have here is the people are in charge. How do we show that we have power? We have the right to vote. Okay, if our leaders are terrible, we just vote somebody else in. Okay, most leaders are terrible, but we get a chance to change it up. Right? All right, go ahead. Next. So write down the essential question. This is the question that we're going to try to answer today. You don't have to answer the question. You just have to write the question down. I hope everybody back there is paying attention, right? Okay, write this down. Write that down where it says EQ. All right, next. Next, please. All right, so what are we doing today? We're going to figure out what a monarchy is, what an empire is, and what did that first happen. Mono means what? We've already talked about this. Anybody know what mono means? It means one, right? So monarchy is one ruler, and an empire is when that ruler rules a whole bunch of different places. We're going to talk about that. So why are we doing this? Always,
it's a Tennessee state.
it's a Tennessee tested standard. And knowing more about monarchies and empires how they began will help us understand what we are studying the whole year. Next. So, Sargon, everybody follow along and fill in the blanks. If you get mixed up, you can rewatch this later at home. Okay? So Sargon, a Semitic ruler known as Sargon the Great, conquered the entire area. Prior to Sargon, the land between the rivers was controlled locally by kings and royal families. Sargon was the first ruler to organize and unite the city-states of Sumer and Mesopotamia under the Akkadian Empire. The very first king. All the rest of them had been just kings of their city-states. And then they would go out and fight the other city-states. This guy decided that he wanted to control not one, and he didn't want to destroy the others. He wanted to control them all under his rule. Now that's what an empire is. An empire is when foreign lands are controlled by a foreign government, either by force or by treaty. So Sargon lived far away from some of these other city-states, but still controlled them as part of his empire. He controlled things far away. Guys, you know the tax. If you bring candy, I'm getting some of it. Next. Sargon of Akkad, the world's first empire. So Sargon was from this area, and he eventually ruled all of these. Okay, next. The Akkadians, a Semitic people, lived in the southern region of Mesopotamia. Sargon became the ruler around 2334 BC. Stories vary as to how he came to power. Some believe he organized the military to overthrow his king. That happens even still today. Somebody controls the military, they try to take over.
Oh.
Not usually here, though. While others believed power was passed down to him. So we're not really sure how he became in charge. Jelly beans are not perfect, but they're almost perfect. Next. Sargon's empire marked the beginning of a new form of government. Cities were organized into the world's first empire. Sargon created what's called a bureaucracy. Now that's kind of a boring word. It's kind of a grown-up word, but you do need to know it. A bureaucracy is when you have a group of government officials that work for the king that help him rule. Could Sargon rule all these cities from living in one city? He couldn't do that by himself. He had to have people who worked for him. He told them what to do. Sargon created a bureaucracy with a standard set of rules and procedures, and he used ideas from cities that he conquered. You know, one city may have gotten rid of the trash better than he did. It's like, hey, we'll do that. One city may have organized their military better. And said, hey, we'll do that. Who's still right?
I didn't get all the ones on the last.
That's okay. You can go back and watch it later. Next. That's okay. We'll make it. So here's how Sargon did that. Here's how Sargon defeated all of his enemies. He had created, or they had created, a new type of bow to shoot arrows. This is not just a wooden bow. It's called a composite bow. So you take strips of wood and strips of horn, like animal horn, with different types of glue or different types of pitch, and you make a bow that could shoot twice as far as regular bows. If you could shoot twice as far as regular bows, you're going to kill your enemies. Okay? Another thing they did was develop something called the phalanx. Well, I'll let you write this first. The first was a composite bow made from strips of wood and horn. It was capable of firing arrows further and faster than the conventional wooden bow. Next. Sargon introduced the phalanx structure. What this was is you had men with big shields stand right next to each other with spears, and they formed basically like a turtle shell. Okay? And they could attack enemies who were all fighting individually, and they as a group were protected by shields, and they just mowed down people. So you've got the technology of the bow, the new bow, and you've got the strategy of the phalanx. We'll talk way more about the phalanx after Christmas when we talk about the Greeks. Okay? And then you're going to have something else. We're going to have the tanks of the ancient world. So the phalanx easily defeated unorganized soldiers, protected each other by forming a human wall of spears and shields. Most other armies at the time had no discipline or formations. We're going to talk way more about this later. Next. So there's Naram-Sin, grandson of Sargon, using a composite bow. Here's the tanks of the ancient world, the chariot. If you look at this relief, okay, it shows the chariot. You're going to have a guy that drives it, one guy with a bow or a sword, and then they would just trample people or cut people as they went by. So not only did Sargon have better technology with the composite bow, he had better strategy with the phalanx formation, but they also had chariots, and they would just mow through people. Okay, next. Sargon put Mesopotamia under a single government. Akkadian became the official language of the Mesopotamians. Matter of fact, it was the official language for about 1,500 years. By using one language, the Akkadians had better communication and organization. However, after 200 years, the Akkadian Empire grew weak, and cities from Mesopotamia revolted for their freedom. So a quick lesson as this was, as we say in my class, go forth and learn, because knowledge is